Good afternoon, everyone.
Mag-prayer sa tagaan. Josh, pwede putol na lang tong kaganihan, murag mag-start na lang og bagyo.
Madunggan ko.
Madunggan rabyan.
Oo, Bi, madunggan na.
Mag-start namin. So, good afternoon, everyone. Our topic today is emerging ways to read aloud. So, do you have any idea, guys, what is read aloud? Yes, Ate Rosen.
Kaning I think is read aloud is like kuan siya kana bitaw mga phonetics and pronunciation.
Thank you, Ate Rosen. So, let us know what is read aloud according to Johnson 2016 and Morrison and Goddard 2009. So, read aloud is an instructional practice where a teacher reads a text aloud to learners, incorporating pitch, tone, pace, volume, phrases, icons, questions, and comments to create a fluent and captivating reading experience. So, I think a simpler way to describe read aloud is that you are just simply reading aloud using your loud voice. So reading aloud does not only improve literacy but also provide a myriad of learning benefits, many learning benefits. And one of the primordial or the basic benefits is developing critical thinking among learners. So how does the read aloud help? It helps with language development even before a child can talk. It is also a great activity to stimulate learning and cognitive skills, but it also builds motivation, curiosity, and memory. It exposes children to story and print knowledge as well to different words and ideas not often heard in everyday conversations. Read aloud also gives the children opportunity to practice listening, which is a crucial skill for their success in education. So, what are the benefits of reading aloud? So, reading aloud is it engages discussion according to Baron and Young's 2008. Second, it develops listening habits. Third, it motivates to read. Fourth, it causes easy and quick reading. Fifth, it provides an easy assessment for readers' comprehension. Sixth, it prolongs the reader's attention span. And lastly, it reaches the child's vocabulary bank. So, the usual method of reading aloud is that the teacher reads first the literacy piece before the learners. However, as the years go by, conducting reading aloud has resulted in some variation. So, according to Dickinson 2001, the most effective method of conducting reading aloud is by actively involving children through interaction rather than making them passive learners. So, mas makatuon jud ang bata if ma-involve siya sa reading. Like, there is an interaction between the teacher and the student rather than mamino ra sila sa basa. So, Catherine will continue.
Good afternoon, everyone. Am I audible?
Yes, Kat.
Thank you, Ate Par. So, in continuation, I will be discussing the methods of learner-focused read aloud and techniques in doing read aloud in literature classes. First, I am going to discuss the methods of learner-focused read aloud. We have to we have reading aloud multiple pieces similar to topic reading aloud and description. Class everyone to please pay attention as I am going to ask some examples of regarding to these methods. So the first method is interactive reading aloud. This method involves this method involves constant interaction between the teacher and students during the read aloud. It involves engaging students in conversation while reading. So I'm going to give you an example. The teacher was reading a story about a girl who loves puppies. And at some point, the teacher will stop to ask, "What do you think what do you think the girl will do when she sees the puppy?" So it is for the students to predict what will happen next. I would like to call somebody who can give an example of an interactive reading aloud as what I have example earlier. Please somebody raise your hand if you wanted to answer. Since walay nag-raise ilang hands, can I call somebody? Uh, Let me call Ate Gia. Ate Gia, can you hear me? Ate Gia, dili, okay, dili siya. Kakuan, kinsa na lang makakuan dira sa inyo ha og example sa interactive reading aloud. Um, hmm. Can I have Ate Richelle? Sige. Ate Gia, can you give me an example of an interactive reading aloud, please?
I think group reading.
Eh?
Group reading.
Group reading can also be an interactive reading aloud because the students were engaging each other. So the second one is retold or dramatized reading aloud. So instead of just reading the text, the teacher can retell the story by changing the words, using different voices for characters, sound effects, or even props to engage the students. This made the story memorable and exciting. For example, katong story nga The Rat and the Lion. So, if kanang turn na sa line mo istorya, so ang tingog ko hay sa ma'am nga nagbasa sa story kay mudako murag roar bitaw kay siyang tingog, and then pag rap na pod ang mobalhin nag istorya, so murag magpa gamay-gamay kunahay og tingog dayon ang pag-deliver sa dialogue. So the third one is, next slide please. Multiple pieces, similar topic reading aloud. So kani siya nga reading aloud involves reading multiple short texts that share a common theme or topic. For example, the teacher introduces concepts of friendship, then you provide different books that showcase various aspects of friendship, like a story about two friends who help each other through difficult time, a poem about the importance of being kind to friends, and a song about sharing and caring for friends. May I call someone to please give an example of multiple pieces, similar topic reading aloud? Uh, can I have Kathy Chan? Or um, can I have Bricks to give an example of multiple pieces, similar topic reading aloud?
Wa ko'y madunggan di kusog king ulan.
Okay. So next, move to the next one. The last method is the description initiated reading aloud. This method sparks curiosity and encourages active listening by describing a scene, character, or object from the story without revealing its title. Then, the teacher will encourage the students to use their imaginations and make predictions about what might be the story about. Like, for example, I'm going to try this on you, classmates, and I hope you're going to identify what fruit is I am going to describe. So, this fruit is a tropical fruit that is sweet, juicy, and often yellow flesh. A tough, brownish skin with hexagonal sections and a leafy crown. What do you think this fruit might be? Classmates, do you have any idea about what I described? What fruit I described?
Pineapple.
Yes, Ate Caritha, you're correct. Thank you for participating. So, um, that is an example of description initiated reading aloud. So, you're describing the the main object or fruit or character in the story. So that story is The Legend of the Pineapple. So next slide, please. In the Philippines, one effective read aloud practice today is using sophisticated stories through big books and picture books. This helps expand vocabulary and basic comprehension. So these methods gives us um, when we say sophisticated stories, it means to narratives that are complex, like types of fiction and fantasy. And by using it in read aloud sessions, it will help boost children's vocabulary and bone oral comprehension, in which backbone, oral comprehension means to understand the deeper meaning of the story. So, um, as we all know that picture books are often for young children where illustrations are important as or important than the text, and big books, it is a large formal books for early education and primary education designed to enhance shared reading experience and promote literacy development through large text and illustration. Next slide, please. The Ed Order 90 series of 2011 is just one among the DepEd policies regarding production of big books in improving the literacy of elementary graders. Reading aloud using big books with fictional characters is potentially necessary for classrooms with high percentages of at-risk readers. So, kani daing big books is kana bit murag dagko gid kani sila nga libro bitaw nga dili siya normal nga libro. So big gid kaayo siya nga bisag naa ka sa distance kay murag makita pagyapon nimo ang text bitaw niya. So and makaingganyo pud ni siya sa mga bata kay kanang dagko gid kayo ang mga illustrations. So murag maingganyo gid sila nga mag-try og basa and mag-engage sa read aloud activity. Next slide, please. Some techniques in doing read aloud in literature classes. The first one is strongly imply the main problem or the overview of the literary piece. So, marag, um, for example, today I am going to read a story about a turtle and a monkey who planted a banana in different ways. So, murag ginakuan bitaw nako ginapakita nako kung unsa gid ang main bitaw nga overview anang nga story. So, yung ana siya. And then the second one is sustain the children's attention using dramatic pauses, appropriate gestures, a variety of pacing, and plenty of eye contact. For example, kung ang dialogue kay murag gahuna-huna bitaw and then you're going to act that way ka murag imong kamot imong gibutang sa imong ulo and then naghuna-huna ka, or if the story kay kana murag na shock ayun murag hindi na shock imong face nga murag nisiga imong mata murag ingana bitaw para makat bitaw ang attention sa ato ang students. So next one is select the best location or makeshift ambience to suit the theme of the piece. For kindergarten pupils or early elementary learners, Tale in 2008 suggested that they be positioned closest to the teacher because in that way they can reap the most benefit during the read aloud activity. So an example to this is we're going to create a circle inside a classroom and the teacher will be in the center and do the read aloud activity so that um, the pupils will be focused on the teacher. And the fourth one is conduct follow-up activities after the read aloud activity by conducting writing or drawing related tasks. So conducting follow-up activities will test their understanding or the lesson learned from the story. Next slide, please. Okay. Fifth one is for older elementary learners. Teachers must vary their location during the read aloud activity, and that way they can accommodate all pupils to maximize their participation. So example ani is kato bitong um, low slow learners ng mga students pwede nato sila ibutang sa front or
or kanang like kaganiha we can create a circle nga atong buhaton para ma-focus gid nila kung ang kuan bitaw ang teacher nga nag-read aloud, or pwede pod nga kanang since older elementary learners naman sila, we can give them an activity that involves read aloud. So we can assign them in groups nga sila ang mag-read ani nga paragraph and the other one will read this paragraph, or we can use the multiple pieces similar topic reading aloud, in which diba, as what I said earlier, that we're going to give different concepts about, for example, friendship, and then we can assign them that this group will read the story, and this group will read the poem, and this group will um, sing the song. So, mo to siya. And then the next one is giving opportunities for pair or small group discussion before, during, and after the read aloud activity. Also promotes high engagement, according to Sir Fanny and Ladd in 2008, called this as interpretative space. So what I have discussed earlier about the interactive reading aloud, no nga, it is important, nga to ask questions or students um, before or during and after the read aloud activity, so that dagan ang ilahang critical thinking about the story. Next slide, please. Um, when reading a picture book, children must see the pages of the material. So it is um, it is connected with how we hold the book. So if we're reading a picture book, the book should face towards our students so that they can see the illustrations. Next is using the power of technology. Teachers may use smart ebooks from online sources as a variation for the printed ones. So using the technologies, if there is no printed ones, you can use ebooks and connect it to the TV if there's a TV in your classroom. So it is also helpful that we can find other sources to produce in our read aloud activity. And the last one is teachers may also invite a person to do the reading. For instance, asking one teacher wearing an animal costume to read the story will sustain more the reader's attention span. So we can invite other persons or co-teachers to, as what the example states here, to wear an costume, or we can do it by ourselves, or if our students are older enough, then we can assign them for a role play where they're going to be creative in portraying the characters in the story. So I think that's all. Is there any questions, classmates? Do you have any questions or clarifications, classmates? So, Biang,
Yes, Kat.
that's all. Thank you, Nata.
That's all, guys. That's it.
Ayaw sa mong left ha kay mag-report pa baya mi. Napa mo dara or
Napa eh.
oh napa. Wait lang mag-report sa amin guys kay wala na. Naka-share screen ko?
Yes, ate.
Ah. Mm.
Hmm, sige kami na po. So our topic is all about multisensory literature teaching. So when you hear the word multisensory, what comes first in your mind? Anyone? Multisensory. Makadungog mag multisensory na word. Unsa inyong mga hunahunaan? Sige, manawag lang ko. Si Rosen. Unsa imong Panda Rosen?
I think it's about kuan, it's about on how we see, how we heard,
Hmm. Kanara?
and then like how we touch or how we smell or like may anak bitaw.
Okay, so we're talking about multiple senses. Okay, so thank you for that, Rosen. So your answer is kanang has something to do with our topic today. So multisensory is comes from the two words which is multi and multi means more than one and sensory involves or delivered from senses. So multiple senses. So that's what Rusen answered earlier. So is multisensory learning. So multisensory instruction is a way of teaching that engages more than one sense at a time. So in a one activity, the children will going to utilize or going to use their different senses. So as you can see, there's a sight, sense of hearing, touch, and movement. So as a human, we all know that we have five senses. So in learning, we have also their four senses. So multisensory literature and teaching is an effective use of multiple senses for receiving information from various sources. And also learners can have the opportunity to seek the learning styles that best fit them. So because as we all know that in the field, in a one classroom, we really encounter such students or pupils that have different learning styles as well as associated with their different learning needs or diverse learning needs that needs to be addressed, especially with the facilitators or their teachers. So researchers on literacy improvement believe that involving multiple areas of the brain is one of the prime ways to teach concepts. So multiple areas of the brain, there, as you can see in the image, there is an eyes, the hands represent for the movement, and ears represent for the hearing. So the researchers called it whole brain teaching, wherein the brain of the children, all of them will work. So you're not going focus only on the visual, on the auditory, on the kinesthetic, but all of this for the children to easily grasp the lesson or easily understand. Like for instance, if you're going to share with them with the story. And also, multisensory literature teaching believes that humans learn best through experience, and creating experiences needs the use of senses. So this concept has been basis of teaching literacy, especially among elementary graders. And engaging teaching approach, multisensory teaching banks on the power of using combined senses. So muna to yung nakitaan ka gina combined senses, muna na darang state, sight, hearing, movement, and touch for our learners to create and to be engaged and effective, meaningful learning for them to learn effectively. So it has something to do with the constructivist teaching and authentic assessment. So in constructivism, that they're going to construct their own learning by having the hands-on activity or by directly getting involved with that specific activity. So the learners are not only a passive receiver, but also they're going to act or going to do the movement. So next is this multi-literature teaching is very beneficial or essential for the learners with learning disabilities. So learning disabilities such as the ADHD and dyslexia. So can you define or could you still remember what's the um, meaning of dyslexia? Anyone? So ganun sila mga children nga na dyslexia disabilities.
Kuan, for them, the letters are dancing man pag di nila kayo masabtan ang ilang gabasahon.
Yes, difficulties of reading comprehension. Aside from that, sa pagyod. Gia?
Mabalik.
Sige, kaysa to gusto mo answer.
Kuan
Aside from difficulties.
kung magbasa sila kay ang mga letters kay gabaliktad-baliktad.
Okay, so no, so the learners, thank you Gia and Kurita for your answers. So all of your answers are correct. So dyslexia is has something to do with difficulties in reading, problem with spelling. What Gia said nga ang mga letters maglibog na sila og kanang arrange, and also have a problem in decoding words or sounding them out. So galisod na sila og kanang nga mga butang. That's why nga Orthon Gillingham established a research on how to address this type of disabilities. So she provided techniques and strategies which followed by specific individuals in their teaching and learning. So most especially in teaching literature. So as you can see in the image, in sharing or in teaching literature, one of his techniques is you must have a real object which the students could able to see, and also the students could able to touch, and the student could able to do the movement. So like for example, if you have a you're going to share a story that it has an elephant, so you need to have that specific object to really help the students to comprehend or to really feel or to really see that that object as kanang nagid siya sa stories, ma-feel nila nga nas ng ang story is kanang involved pud sila. And also like for example, if the setting of the story is in the bakery, so you can able to bring a piece of bread nga imo silang ipa-smell, then for them to kanang to feel nga mura gyud sila naa sa setting sa story. And also as what I've said earlier, that there's such individuals who kanang ila bitong gi-adapted the techniques and strategies that Orton Gilligman introduced. Okay, this is Margaret Taylor Smith. So according to her, MTA or multisensory teaching approach is a comprehensive multisensory program in reading, spelling, writing, and alphabet dictionary skills based on Orthon Gillingham techniques and alphabetic phonics. So as we all know that when we see phonics, it's all about the sound. So also, Loxios, Waits, MC, and Eyelet are Cox based on Orthon Gillingham techniques and emphasizes intense phonetic analysis of written language. So the program is presented in a structured multisensory sequence of alphabet reading and spelling. So one of example of this is kana bitong like for instance na cat sa story. So since they are really kanang it's hard for them to kanang sa spelling man, so and also pag decode sa word. So one of the techniques nga alphabet phonics, from the word alphabet phonics kanang gi individual bitaw nimo siya og sound like k a t ana kanang imo din siya isumpay. So that is the most kanang thing nga nakakahitabo. Next, course, there are several kanang models or study theory that has something to do with multi-literature teaching. So, like for example, is the Bark learning styles, studied by Neil Fleming. So, Bark and what's the connection between the two? So, Bark and multisensory focuses on sensory input, as you can see there, the visual, the auditory, reading, writing, kinesthetic. So all of these will be explained further by my co-reporter, and she will going also to provide an example activities for that. And sensory input references directly addressed by multi-sensory teaching. So mo nang ilang connection nga it has something to do good with multisensory and bark murag iya lang yung gi-apply sa iyang teaching. And also, the very common, the multiple intelligence. So, kinsa yang proponent ay multiple intelligences. Anyone na report ni Corita during sa atong grade? Rosen. Sige ba? Napa mo there, guys?
It's Howard Gardner po who proposed the theory of um the multiple intelligence. Thank you.
Okay, so thank you, Miko. So that's right, no? Multiple intelligences, and the proponent of this is C. Howard Gardner. So what's the connection between multiple intelligences and multisensory? So it emphasizes diverse cognitive strength through varied sensory and experiential activities. So that's all for my part. So let's have Rosen for the continuation of our report.
Ate Rose, Zen, kanang pwede nimo i-copy na lang na ang link anang imuhang Canva then i-send sa GC. Ako na lang mag-present Ate Rose Zen. Thank you. Ate, kanang link na lang sa Canva, ate. Ang i-share. Please. I-accept sa ako request, ate Rose Zen. Sorry, guys.
Okay ra? Makita ra? No longer sharing your screen.
Oo.
Sorry jud kay mga guys. So in continuation for our discussion, I will give the discussions about the senses involved in multi-sensory literature teaching. So the first is the visual or the sight. Second is auditory or the sound. Third is the tactile or the touch. And last is the taste and smell. So so visual or sight. It refers to engaging students through visual elements to enhance their understanding and connection with the text. So for example, for this is flashcard. So by using flashcards with letters or words written on their in different colors is help students to connect the sounds with the letters. Also, the visual color help reinforce memory of a students. Next is the auditory or the sound. It refers to using sound based elements to enhance students' engagement and understanding of literature. By incorporating sound, teachers can enrich the learning experience and help students connect more deeply with the text. So, like Catherine said a while ago, by saying a word aloud and having students repeat it and emphasizing the sounds in the word, this helps reinforce phonics and pronunciation for the children to understand or to learn. Next is the tactile or the touch. It refers to using physical hands-on experience to engage students and deepen their connection with the text. Tactile elements using the sense of touch to make abstract or complex concepts more concrete, enhance sensory experiences, and stimulate deeper understanding. So example of this is kaning by providing students with textured textured materials such as like stones, then kana bitang ipakuan nimo sila, ipa-identify nimo kung unsa ba ang stone, either rough ba siya or smooth. Then the shapes like letters, so they can trace them with their fingers. And also it can reinforce their learning, kanang mas madali nila i-identify if kana bitong ipahawid gyud nimo sila, like ma-experience gyud nila kung like sa akong ginaingon a while ago kanang bato if smooth ba siya or rough. Next is the taste and smell. These senses are often used in more creative or thematic literature in lessons. So, like for example, sa in a class, so dapat jud dili ingon nga kanang for example kanang moingon lang ka nga sa imong student is, okay class, imagine what is the taste of a durian or a smell of a durian, instead nga may nga dapat ipakita jud nimo sa mga bata kay kanang ang bata biya kay kanang mga curious bin na sila kung launsa di ay 'to, di ba? So dapat jud as a teacher, dapat dili lang kay moingon ta nga imagine, kun dili dapat ipakita nila, ma-feel nila para mas dali nila ma-identify, ay ing ani di ay ang kanang baho sa durian, ing ani di iyang lami. So for that, by incorporating these multi-sensory techniques, the learning experience is richer and it can be tailored to meet the diverse needs of all students, improving both engagement and retention. And that's our discussion for today. Sorry jud kayo mga guys. Oo, JD, yun lang yung last part ko.